Welcome back to Couch Talk, everybody. I'm Joe, and I just got done watching the trailer for the remake of Pet Sematary. The original came out in 1989, and it was, pretty successful back in the day. Now they're remaking it all the way in 2019. Now, I think the trailer looks good, but a lot of horror movies have trailers, like especially the remakes, have trailers that look really good, and then the movie winds up being crap. I think a lot of that falls on not every horror movie needs a remake, just ones that feel outdated when you rewatch them. For example, A Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake, was absolutely terrible. First of all, they CGI'd his face, or they gave him like a weird mask that made him look not like the original, and it just wasn't scary. And they threw a lot of big budget scenes in it, and you just don't need it. A Nightmare on Elm Street didn't need to be remade because even if you watch it like the original, it's still creepy as hell. The scenery and just everything about the art design and the nightmares that he brings these people into, they didn't require a lot of special effects. A lot of it was practical, and the practicality of it all worked. So, I don't think they ever should have remade that movie. Jaws, that movie has no, special effects. It's all practical. There's no reason to remake Jaws because it still holds up and looks great to this day. That shark would still scare the shit. If I saw that thing in the water, I wouldn't think it was fake. I would think it's real. And the acting is just top notch. It doesn't feel outdated and campy. It's amazing. You don't need to remake that. They remade Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage, and that movie was atrocious. There was no reason to remake that movie either because it didn't require a lot of special effects or practical effects of that matter. Just some training to handle bees. And Nicolas Cage just totally honed in that performance, and he went way over the top. Something about Nicolas Cage, man. He's either really good or really bad. Then they remade Psycho, and you don't need to remake that. I mean, I get it. The original was black and white, and they wanted to bring it more to a modernized audience. But it doesn't need to be remade. But then you get a movie like It that comes out, and it blows the roof off the place. It can be remade and work like it did because it relied a lot on special effects. In the original, the straight-to-TV adaptation was pretty good. But this one I thought was a little bit better because, this is about a clown that becomes your worst fear, brings it to life. And you can't really do that with practical effects. You need some kind of special effects. And I think that lent to the movie being more scary as opposed to using shitty practical effects. You can't pull off a lot of the stuff they do in that movie with practical effects, which is why I think it worked. Now with Pet Sematary, it's about a bunch of animals that come back from the dead, kill people, they come back from the dead, turn into zombies. And I mean, you've seen zombies from the old George A. Romero movies, the original Dawn of the Dead and the new Dawn of the Dead from Zack Snyder. And I mean, maybe you're not a huge fan of the newer one, but we'd all be lying if we didn't say that the zombies in Zack Snyder's version looks way better than the George A. Romero's version, and that's because practical effects help make the movie go a long way. And like I said, every horror movie needs a good story, but it also helps to have a good atmosphere around you and one that feels real and up to date. Back in the day, maybe that stuff could pass for its time, but now you make a movie like the original Pet Sematary and it just wouldn't work. So you need those special effects to bring those animals and those creatures to life and make the zombies look scarier than ever. And as long as they don't go over the top with a whole bunch of new twists and they stay close to the core of the original movie, I really think that this could work. I think that this movie has potential to be really good if done right. It's being directed by two people that I've never really heard of, and I've looked them up, and they haven't done anything that I'm familiar with. Their names are Kevin Kolsch and Dennis Widmeyer. I mean, it's not like they're tapping into another Nicolas Cage performance. They have Jason Clarke in the lead role as the father here. John Lithgow obviously plays the guy that tries to warn them about the place and not to go there. The old man that, if you all seen the original, has a pretty tense encounter with the small child of the film. And Amy Seimetz, I believe is how you pronounce her name. She is the wife of Jason Clarke. We all know her story. They have good actors in this. Jason Clarke is a really good actor. Whereas in It, they didn't really have big name actors. They had a bunch of kids, and they had Bill Skarsgård, which is the least popular out of all the Skarsgårds. In this, they have some top-notch actors in there, and I would like to think, and again, The Wicker Man had Nicolas Cage, but Nicolas Cage to me is not a top actor. He just does anything. It could be a movie about half mermaid, half Terminator that has to save the president from space Nazis, and he'd be like, let's do it. Like, he just doesn't care. He just does anything and everything. And I mean, yeah, he tries in everything he does, but it doesn't mean he should take everything that's thrown at him, because then it just makes him look like a joke. Jason Clarke actually does good stuff, so the fact that he's attached to the lead role in this movie tells me that when he read the script, he saw that there was like great potential in it. And as of the last couple of years, Stephen King remakes have been doing really good. You got It, you got Gerald's Game. You had another movie with the guy from The Punisher, Thomas Jane. I can't remember what it was called, but it was on Netflix. It was okay, but it wasn't like the worst remake I've ever seen. And now we're getting this. And I gotta say, overall, I'm pretty excited. The trailer looks really great. The atmosphere looks great. I love the fog they have in the forest. That looks really good. The cat is creepy as all hell, and that truck that you see in the trailer, for anyone that's seen the original, you know what that means, and my god, gives me chills knowing that it's coming, and I am not looking forward to seeing it done with today's graphics and budget, and I honestly gotta wonder if they're gonna actually show it or not. Anyway, I can't wait to see what they do next. They're obviously gonna keep this ball rolling with Stephen King remakes, kind of like how Disney's remaking all of their cartoons. It's kind of like a cool little Stephen King universe we're getting. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you excited for this movie? Are you excited to see what they do next? Do you want them to keep remaking Stephen King books? If you haven't heard of anything announced already, what would you like to see remade next? Anyway, as always, I'll catch you next time.